Here's Nick Marsh, everybody, from Chopped. Farooq Kathwari from Ethan Allen Furniture. And Simone Jordan from SheaMoisture, Unilever's brand, global beauty brand. Are you guys all settled? You're all settled? You had your coffee and all that? So I have to say, if you're looking for proven strategies to grow your business, you've come to the right place. We're so lucky to have three of the most essentially successful businesses in their respective industries: Ethan Allen Furniture, Farooq Kathwari, Nick Marsh from Chopped, and then Simone Jordan from SheaMoisture, Unilever's global beauty brand. So these businesses have accomplished three really important things that all of you in the audience and the winners reflect in your success: endurance, proven innovation, profitable innovation, as well as they've amassed fiercely loyal customer base. So pretty impressive. And they're here to share actionable insights for growth that you all can take from, and they're taking audience questions afterwards, so please have some questions for them. And welcome, all of you. Thank you so much for being here. So I am going to start with my old friend, not old, but old, because we've known each other a long time. Look at him, he's upset with me now. Farooq Kathwari, CEO of Ethan Allen. So endurance, 92-year-old business, $792 million furniture retailer. And what's interesting is that in Ethan Allen's 92-year history, there's been two CEOs, and Farooq Kathwari is one of them, which is craziness. So you've weathered tumultuous change in the home furnishings industry, a tough climate. We've seen the rise of online shopping and the demise of longtime legacy retailers. Why am I setting it up that way? How have you endured and sustained business in the face of when the Levitzes to the Bed Bath & Beyonds of the world have not survived?
Well, first of all, it's a great pleasure to be here. Yes, I've had the pleasure of being with Ethan Allen most of my life, and sort of heading it now for almost 40 years. I started when I was 10 years old. See, Ethan Allen, as you said, and I was listening to your discussions over here, our focus has been based on being entrepreneurial and disciplined. And that's very important for any business. And our business started in the Green Mountains of Vermont, and that's why I named Ethan Allen. Started as a manufacturing company, and over the years then established retail. There were dealers all over the country, and then they started retiring. And our objective was, how do we create an entrepreneurial business which is integrated from a concept of idea to sawmills to manufacturing to retail. And I say the main focus has been being entrepreneurial and disciplined, and that, of course, if you have a small business, that's what you have to do. We have 175 retail locations, each run by an entrepreneur. We have 1,000 interior designers, each one run as a business. Entrepreneurial and disciplined. They all work for us, but they're all independent entrepreneurs as well. When you combine being an entrepreneur and disciplined and entrepreneurial discipline, there are a lot of businesses that are only disciplined and a lot of businesses that are only entrepreneur. When you balance the two together, that has given us an opportunity to be around for 90 years.
But I want to, vertically integrated business model was another key to that success. Can you share what that means and why that might be applicable to this audience?
Yeah, well, you see, we started as a manufacturing company from Vermont to California to Oklahoma and other places. Then 30 years back, manufacturing was shifting, was going away, or 20 years back from North America. We decided to stay in North America, because another unique factor is we decided that we're going to have one level of quality for our products. Not easy. Now, to do that, we had to control manufacturing. So we decided about 20 years back that we will maintain our manufacturing in North America, not only in the United States, but we went to the south of the border. We went to middle of Mexico and Honduras. Today, 75% of our products are made in North America, and 75% are custom when you place an order. Not easy. That's very much different than our industry. When you create that kind of a structure, that kind of an organization that's entrepreneurial, disciplined, vertically integrated, we deliver our products all over North America at one delivered price to your home, whether you're living in Portland, Oregon, or you're living in Texas. Not easy. When you create all those kinds of things, that gives you an opportunity to survive and stay in business.
And you control your brand equity and pass that on to the consumer. I'm going to come along to Miss Simone over there. She is looked over there. So just quickly about SheaMoisture, Unilever's multi-million-dollar, multicultural hair care brand that's ubiquitous in the beauty aisles of the biggest retailers and in my home too. But it started out, like so many of you in the audience, a small business, right? Your founder, in 1991, company founder Richard Dennis started selling hair care products from New York City, my hometown, made by his grandmother, right, from Sierra Leone in West Africa. And when Dennis sold the business in 2017, he included a provision to make sure that the business still supports Black entrepreneurs. And that has been, which was not like a thing all the time back then, you know what I mean? Supporting Black businesses, small businesses overall has really helped power your success. And you've built such a robust consumer following by creating these really bold and authentic cultural moments, that serve the community. And this Simone Jordan's work as head of brand purpose and brand partnerships has been instrumental to that. So I wanted to give you that context. My question: it's a global brand. How has sustaining the brand's DNA as a small Black-founded business, essentially, really via community and culture, powered your success?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? Few nods, okay. So yes, we were a small business when we were acquired by Unilever, and we remain thinking that way when we think about our strategies. And so for us, I think really we were created based on an unmet need in the market. So with SheaMoisture, there were Black women who did not have hair care for them. And if they had it, it was limited to an aisle, to a beauty supply. But when they went into mass retail, they did not see anything specifically for their hair needs. So we were that. We responded to that. And what we have to understand, and we do understand as we continue growing and scaling, is that we have to keep that need at the center of what we do. So sometimes it's easy to follow a trend. If we followed trends when we first started, the trend was that Black women were not necessarily wearing their hair natural. We would have never actually had a business if we only thought about the trend. What we had to do was understand that there was an unmet need, and we have to keep that focus now. Even as we scaled, even as we have gotten bigger, we have to realize there's so many beauty businesses that are reaching out and serving multicultural hair, yet this woman, this consumer, is still not completely served. And so we have that as our North Star, and we continue to keep that at the forefront of what we do. How we also make sure, just in what you were talking about in connecting with our community, we keep that centered. So today I'm here. Last weekend I was at CultureCon, which is in New York City, and it is a summit for Black creatives. And for us, that's where we find our community. That's where we're gonna sponsor events, and we're gonna meet her where she is. So again, figuring out how to center your consumer. This does not mean that the only people who buy SheaMoisture are Black women. This means that we are creating products for her. And what we have done, even as we've gone into Unilever, and again, hopefully a lot of people are familiar with Unilever here, but Unilever, we're in a company of Vaseline, we're in a company of Dove, we're in a company of these big billion-dollar businesses, and us as a multi-million-dollar business, we are still holding on to our grandma Sophie's recipes. We're still doing things that are true to our consumer, and Unilever is allowing us to do that. So as a small business, if you are in the audience and you're envisioning, acquisition as an exit for yourself, it is very, very important for you to remember how you started and to hold on to that as you go into the business. And for Unilever and for SheaMoisture, it's important to keep my role centered, which is I keep the history. I was there when the business was a family-owned business. I am still here to be Black leadership and center that consumer in what we do. And that's how we've remained successful and still serving this consumer today.
Being in with the community, like literally there. I went to one of your events. You are literally with the community, like
Yes.
it's real.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not. We're going to move on to Chopped. Chopped Creative Salad Company, a disruptor in the restaurant business. So, when Chopped opened in my hometown in New York City in 2001, right? And 2001 in Union Square, you elevated the fast food salad business, which was then dominated by those sad little salad buffets with the wilted lettuce, whatever, and of dubious freshness and quality. And you really pioneered the fast casual salad category. Locally sourced, high quality ingredients tossed together in an innovative way. Now you're a $200 million company, and you were named among the top businesses in the. It's a lot. So, what's proven to have been critical to scaling a profitable business?
Thank you for the question. So, first, I just want to say I can't believe that there have only been 2 CEOs of
And I'm just
for 50
getting started.
years. I can only
love
hope
that.
they could keep me around for a little bit longer. That's unbelievably impressive. So, how do we scale? It's interesting when I think about small businesses and the question of scaling and how you get bigger. And bigger always seems to be set out as the ultimate goal. And so the first thing I would start my answer with, and I think is really important to remember, is when I think about scaling and think about growth, you can only scale something if it's great, right? It's much easier to scale something that the consumer loves and that the people who work for you have passion around than it is to scale something that's mediocre. All the components of scaling, that's the disciplines and the administrative components and the systems and processes, they can be layered in over time, but it's got to start great. And I think an advantage that everybody here has as small business and owners and founders is that no one really sets the bar for great like the founders. And certainly a part of the Chopped story, which now a part of a company called Founders Table, where Tony Schuer and Colin McCabe, the founders of Chopped in 2001, still play an instrumental role in the company, is to maintain that standard. And from there, growing and scaling and figuring out how you're going to compete, I think always comes back to, people have different words for differentiation or competitive advantage. My attempt at a colorful description of that is when you go to sleep at night, like what's the thing that you're the most proud of that your company does? Like why do you think you're better? And relying on that as sort of the North Star as you scale is critical. For Chopped, it's in our name, right? Like we enjoy being Chopped Creative Salad Company. And the thing that makes everybody on our team sort of the most excited and the most proud is that we try to come up with stuff that people wouldn't expect, right? And sometimes it is we do that in a few different ways, right? Right now we do a bunch of partnerships with different people. We have a partnership going with Jimmy Johnson, who's a famous NASCAR driver, and which is maybe not where every salad company would go for their partnerships. And people ask me, why is a NASCAR driver, promoting Chopped? And for 2 reasons. One, we kind of think it's creative and interesting. And 2, he happens to love Chopped and he eats at our Park Road location all the time. But we're willing to just kind of make a little bit of a move that others wouldn't make. When it comes to our food, that's certainly where we try to express our creativity the most right now. And we do that, again, sort of with partnerships. Like that's a big part of certainly the marketing world right now. Who do you align yourselves with? We're doing it right now in restaurants. We have an Ultimate Hummus and Harissa Bowl. We're partnered with New York Shook and Ithaca Hummus. And we have their founders come and have a dinner with our founders, and we tell our stories and how they interweave, and the product quality is so critical to everybody. So like we like to find different ways to just express that creativity. Sometimes it's even with stuff that people may or may not have heard of. We did one of the most popular things we did this year was a huli huli chicken, right? With a which is a South Pacific Hawaiian flavoring of chicken. Some people have heard of it, some have not. But when we think about how we will continue to scale, and when we think about the first most important thing in scaling, it is certainly about sort of setting the standard and knowing what you as a company are bringing to the table that's different.
Scaling and being innovative and taking some chances too, right? Summing up, I'm going to go fast now because I know you guys all have questions. Coming to you quickly, Farooq, about your technology and the design. Ethan Allen has 1,000 designers essentially, right? You're the biggest design network. What do you want to say about how technology has helped you enhance the business as it relates to your design services and really improve the customer experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think technology is tremendously important in everything we do. First, we started as a manufacturing company. We had 30 manufacturing plants. Today we have 10 doing twice as much as the 30 did, combining good people and technology. Our retail, 10 years back, we had 3,000 interior designers. Today, 1,000 doing more than the 3,000 did, combining good professionals with a lot of technology. I mean, today, it's amazing how the ability for an interior designer working with consumers virtually and creating design has turned our business around. We used to spend lots of time drawing designs. Today, they can virtually do all kinds, and consumers sitting in their home, coming into our design centers. So technology, but combined with good people. When you combine the two together, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's retail, that is what has made it possible for us to continue. We're a public company too. Not easy to be a public company and stay only on one business. Because, Wall Street wants you to buy other companies, grow for the sake of growth. Not easy, but we've been profitable, fortunately, so they stay away. Now, but keeping a business model that's entrepreneurial, disciplined, combined technology in everything we do, that's what makes it happen.
Ms. Simone, what do you want to say about scaling, or what, you have the dominant market share in multicultural hair, and you're also a disruptor. Anything you want to say about that kind of growth, and what could be a teachable moment or teachable insight or stuff from that? And then we're going to go to the questions.
Yeah, so we're continuing to scale. We think about what our consumer needs. And again, right now we just launched a bond repair collection. And so with it, it was an opportunity for us to look at, we understand that with our consumer, she's doing protective styles. She's doing things where she's really wanting to show her versatility. She's wanting to do different things with her hair. So for us, we said, let's look at bond repair. We know that this has been popular in the market, but it hasn't necessarily been for a type 4C, for a consumer like ours. So we innovated in that space. So again, we can look at things that are in the mass market for all consumers, but what we understand is it's probably, no matter how great it is, and I think everyone in here who has used a bond repair system knows that it's amazing, but it wasn't necessarily helping the consumer that we are targeting. So we understood her need. We decided to create our innovation based on something that was popular, but wasn't necessarily helping our consumer. And what has happened to support scaling is that not only did it support people with textured 4C hair, but people who had color-treated hair, people who had hair that was denser than those that the general market was making products for. So again, we kept her centered, we kept our consumer centered, but understanding that because of her hair, because of the moisture it needs, we were able to serve so many other consumers. So I would say that's the growing moment for you as a small business. You keep your customer in mind, and others may also be able to be served by them, but always keep focused on who you served and why you started.
Okay, that's a great answer. Let's turn this to questions from the audience. Over here. This one here. Oh.
Hi, I'm Sharnae Johnson. Okay, still who next? I'm Sharnae Johnson with In the Beginning Incubator in Richmond, Virginia. And I have a serious question. What is the best shampoo and conditioner for your girlies with locks.
I'll take that one.
Do you want to answer Nick? Who were you asking that question to?
Just being for real, I need to know. Thank you.
I'll say it really quickly because I have to plug SheaMoisture. So we are good for lock care. Our bond repair, if you go to our Instagram page, you go to our social media, you will actually see consumers with locks that are using using our products. So just to keep it short, please go to TikTok, please go to our Instagram, and you will see someone with your hair using the products and how to use the products in a way that is best for your hair. But it's SheaMoisture.
All right. Next question.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. My name is Dr. Juliet Agocha. And my question is, as a small business owner, sometimes or most times, people doesn't understand your why. So your why doesn't make sense to most people, but to you, you know why your why is yours. So my question is, at what stage or years in business do you actually look at everything and said, oh, I think I got it? Because I feel like when you start business as a small business owner, so many people doubt you. And that doubt sometimes could start kind of getting to your mind, and then your mind start doubting your own capabilities. So at what stage do you really feel that you have made the right decision to be an entrepreneur, to open your own business, and to just be an awesome person?
I'm going to have the founder on this stage.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Founder?
So that's a tricky question. Here's where my mind goes on that. If it's a good idea, everyone will doubt you at the beginning, right? Think about, we started selling salads as an entree in 2001. Like that, it wasn't a thing. A salad was what you also got with your meal, right? And so there were years of that doubt. What I would be looking for, if I were you, though, is, are you adjacent to something that actually is a big market? Right? Or are you somewhere, can you see how you can move people from one type of purchasing behavior over to your why? Right? Because Chopped actually solved a whole bunch of things for people. They didn't think about salad as an entree, but man, they wanted to eat a little bit healthier, right? And they didn't want to give up flavor, so dressings that had a lot of flavor really worked, right? And there were a whole host of people out there, we started out, right, who needed to come for lunch, and they needed to eat somewhere for lunch. So there were ways into bigger markets, even though the idea itself didn't really resonate to people in the first place. So I think you got to have the passion, you got to believe, you got to know what you're selling, but you got to see where those customers are coming from over time.
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jody. I'm CEO of the Brand Development Group. We're in a scaling phase. I'm sure many of us are in the room, so I have a very specific question around scaling. There's a cycle that I call almost the entrepreneurial cycle of death, where you want to get more clients. To get clients, you need to have staff to get those clients and maintain them. To get staff, you need to have money to pay the staff. And it's a cycle that happens when we go through scaling. So for example, my company, we're getting a lot of new clients in, which has been great. Now we need to hire people in the whole 9 yards. Specifically, how did you scale? Did you get funding? Did you take out loans or go for grants to help with hiring new staff, or like what this was like the specific? I understand having the motivation and the goals and stuff like that, but now we're actually looking at the strategy for scaling, and is it a good idea to do the whole loans and the like to increase staff? So if you can speak a little bit on your specific strategy when you said, you know what, we need to invest in our company, and this is the way we need to do it because we know we have good ideas, we see the growth, and how do we now take it to the next level?
Yeah, I'll just start to say, yes, you're going to need capital. And we know that that's very hard for a lot of businesses to receive, but for us to scale before we were acquired, to even have the interest of a Unilever to look at us, we had to get funding. And so I would say that it's very, very important. It's one of the things as SheaMoisture, when we are supporting Black small-owned businesses, we understand that. We understand the need for capital. We also know that women, Black women founders, Black women who are starting businesses don't necessarily get it at the same rate. So we do undilutive grants and funds and loans. So we do a lot of things on our end. The same for New Voices, which is the group that came out of SheaMoisture's acquisition. So I would recommend for those in the room, definitely look at New Voices as a business that is supporting small businesses in their scaling. There's also lots of others that are specifically, I'm looking at you, I'm talking directly to you as a Black founder, but there are a lot of organizations that have created opportunities to give you loans, but not with the high interest rates that typically come with it, or needing the things that you would need and probably don't have access to. Any other tips on scaling? Farooq?
Well, you know, it depends at what level one is doing it. And I had an opportunity, Ethan Allen was a public company, and then we had an opportunity of taking it private. And I was younger, foolish, with 90% debt, with interest rates up to 18%. You know, a lot of people thought it was foolish, but anyway, we had to work very hard. We made it, and then we decided to go public. People didn't believe in us because, you know, we had a lot of debt. However, we did convince. You have to convince people. You have to sell yourself. People are not going to invest in you if they don't believe that you have a confidence, that your ability to. I had to convince Wall Street to give debt and to relieve my 18% interest. Some people said, forget it. This company is not even a going concern because with so much of debt. So you've got to have confidence. You've got to be able to sell. But first you've got to believe in it yourself. If you do that, things do happen.
I think that's a good note to leave things on. Thank you so much to all of you. What a pleasure, what a gift to have you here. Yeah. Simone, Farooq, and Nick. Thank you. Please thank them.